Hello, dear friends. Why hasn't it happened? For lack of faith. Faith moves mountains, and doubt blocks any process. Believing is creating, and skepticism blocks all creation. Saint Peter sank into the water when he began to doubt. Man of little faith, why have you doubted? We are not aware of the infinite power we have as divine beings. Opinion piece. Hidden history. Lifting the veil. Empire of Tartary. Nothing is what it seems. The result is assured. Let's start. We are witnessing the end of the debt-based system, and we want a better world for ourselves and future generations, says Peter B. Mayer. An amazing future is real and underway. Free energy, natural cures, an end to chronic disease, interstellar travel, time travel, and an asset-backed monetary system. Cleaning our atmosphere of chemtrails, returning to organic nutrients without toxins. In other words, a golden age is upon us. Many hidden phenomena will be revealed, and much of the lost history. Hardly anyone knew about the past century ago. Our DNA strand was shortened from 12 to 2 strands. 500 years ago, they decided to destroy the history of humanity, to replace it with their inventions. Previously, the population was much more advanced than today. Ancient structures were demolished or buried under mudslides to erase the human past. Ancient civilizations. You may have heard of the ancient lost civilization of Atlantis, the lost continents of Mu and Lemuria, and you may have even heard of the belief in the lost cradle of civilization called Thule and Hyperborea. Thule is a term used in classical sources to refer to a place, usually an island, in the far north. In Greek mythology, Hyperborea was originally located in northern lands north of Thrace. But have you heard of the lost Empire of Tartary? The truth is that at that time, the Empire of Tartary covered the planet from present-day Vladivostok in the east to the west coast of California. The name Tartaria was used to simplify the area and the peoples of that region. Depending on your interests and pursuit, you may have learned a great deal about this great global civilization in the past few years. For example, you may have been surprised to discover that this ancient civilization originated in Central Eurasia as a vast kingdom encompassing most of Siberia, and was so successful that it spread throughout the world, even as far as the Americas, and that today we can still see the remains of its great architecture. Perhaps your astonishment turned to admiration and bewilderment when you heard of a great global catastrophe, a flood similar to Noah's but of mud, which destroyed most of the vestiges of this magnificent civilization. Your astonishment and bewilderment turned to shock when you heard of a worldwide conspiracy to suppress the history of the Tatar Empire, hide the existence of this avalanche, and claim the achievements of their culture as our own. So, throw away what you know about world history. Ignore what you think you understand about ethnology, geography, architecture, and geology, and prepare to be awakened from the sleep of ignorance, released from the head of sheep, and drawn into the mystery of Tartary. Giants. Tartaria was a giant race of technologically advanced beings that existed long before we came on the scene. Some even suggest that we evolved from them after the great deluge of mud. This deluge was responsible for the disappearance of them and most of their technological innovations, leaving only traces of their architecture. And ever since we came along, some have tried to hide their existence from the world and claim their architecture as their own. There is a talk on alternate history, in which a technologically advanced race that emerged from North Central Asia was responsible for his cities and infrastructure built around the world. Older constructions from hundreds of thousands of years ago are still visible. Contemporary architects cannot execute such marvels. The alternative theory of the Great Tartary as a lost civilization originated in Russia from the diffusion of the so-called new chronology of Anatoly Fomenko and was popularized by Nikolai Levashov. Tartary was presented as the true name of Russia, ignored in the West. The central core of Tartary was a powerful empire that would have occupied all of northern Asia, from the Caspian Sea and the Ural Mountains to the shores of the Pacific Ocean and even the American continent. This civilization managed to transmit energy by means of waves over a great distance, just as Tesla did, and the spiral towers of Russian architecture would be receivers of these waves, just like the telegraph poles visible in some old photos. There is a shared opinion that many of the conflicts between the 19th and 20th centuries were actually due to Tartary. It is believed that Napoleon's invasion of Russia in 1812 was an attack on the Tartary Empire, and that after the Great Mud Flood, the First and Second World Wars were nothing more than excuses to wipe out the rest of Tartary. Atlantis. Atlantis existed for a period of several 100,000 years. Most of the Atlantean times were times of light. Only the final phase was a dark age, but one rich in lessons. The period between 17,500 and 10,500 BC. The golden period of Atlantis had the highest level of consciousness ever reached on a planet in any civilization, higher than that of Mu and Lemuria. Theosophists believed that the civilization of Atlantis reached its height almost 1 million years ago, but was destroyed by internal wars caused by the dangerous use of psychic and supernatural powers by its inhabitants. There are indications that the true story may have been saved and stored in the Vatican archives. Time will tell the truth. It has become somewhat fashionable to regard Lemuria as a utopian civilization, and although they reached a stage of high consciousness, most of the time they were not in physical bodies, but rather on an etheric level, and did not face the difficulties they required in the terrestrial physical stage. Thanks to their applied anti-gravity technology, they were able to realize these architectural wonders. In the golden age of Atlantis, the pyramids were 3 or 4-sided, depending on their utility, and were generally made of marble, granite, and complex crystals. The 3-sided pyramids were used as antennas to attract and amplify energies, and channel them to power homes, factories, and create energy fields for different services. Among them were incarnated many brilliant souls, beings you may know by name like Galileo, Isaac Newton, Einstein, Tesla, Edison, and even Leonardo da Vinci, were among them until now. The exact period of civilization of Atlantis is not known, since the literature on it was destroyed 2,300 years ago in the Library of Alexandria, although it is possible that the Vatican keeps secret information that it never shares. The rulers of Alexandria set out to fulfill one of humanity's boldest goals, to bring all the world's knowledge under one roof. In its superlative age, the Great Library of Alexandria housed an unprecedented number of scrolls and attracted some of the world's greatest minds, but by the end of the 5th century BC, the Great Library had disappeared. The Great Pyramid. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the oldest of the seven wonders of the ancient world, and the only one that can still be visited. This stone mass, with its 146.62 meters high, was the tallest building in the world until the 14th century. According to Peter B. Mayer, the Great Pyramid of Giza was built as a harmonic resonance chamber within an interdimensional portal system through which visiting spacecraft could time travel and quickly access planet Earth. During the cycle in which the Great Pyramid was built in pre-Atlantis times, the Galactic Federation was tasked with protecting this stockade in order to intervene in the event of an attack by hostile invaders. The Giza Pyramid was a mystery school for Melchizedek's Blue Flame Spiritual Ascension program to accelerate the passage of the portal to inner Earth, whose entrance was under the Great Sphinx. Melchizedek's Blue Flame acted as archivist for Earth's extensive genetic library and its timeline history. Millions of years ago, the Galactic Federation worked closely with the Syrian High Council to serve as gatekeepers who would have helped support the seeding and evolutionary process on planet Earth in its lowest density, called the first harmonic universe or timeline, or third dimension. Reflections. Massive changes are coming. Will we survive the evolutionary change? We humans are very slow in our evolution, and we choose to repeat the first grade over and over again, and we still haven't learned the lessons to evolve and expand. If the world didn't care about you, you wouldn't be here, says Kehrer. Mother Earth needs your unique energy. Humanity needs your light, love and kindness. You are on Earth to serve as a beacon of light, so that others can reflect and reevaluate their life. Forecast. Buffner said, the next few weeks are going to be chaotic behind the scenes. Everything will end well, but it won't look like it does now. The best is yet to come totally in your favor, but not quite so far. Progress stops and continues some more. This has been the name of the game for many years. It is advancing even if it is very slow. Go ahead and pay little attention to the negative news sites and all the propaganda. It's not going to change anything. The result is assured by those who are in the know. Your determination is admired. Other than that, wait. The seeds have been planted, and no one is sure how long it will take to grow. Much longer than anyone thought. This planet has been the scene of many civilizations that have proliferated and disappeared, as the void has been cleared and repopulated with new sprouts. The agreements to enslave have ended. The Earth is free of laws at last, but still subject to interstellar rules. Few know the true story, and those who do are silent except for one or two voices. This planet has been the scene of this planet has been a home to many species for a long time, and they have a vested interest in the well-being of this blue ball. What is coming is extraordinary. The floodgates will open, things get cleaned up enough, and it will dominate the project site. As we rebuild the world, with all the tools we can handle. Suppressed technologies will come out, and we will see commercial agreements with other species. Events. Destroyed hundreds of surveillance cameras in the United Kingdom. Law enforcement have a grab device that stops vehicles. A ship with 2,857 vehicles burns in the North Sea due to the fire of an electric car. Michael Baxter says white hats stop black hats in New York. Add that Delta Force captures black hat officers in Germany. Demonstration in South Africa with 60,000 people chanting, in quotes, "Kill the white farmers." Trump pleads not guilty to 4 charges related to the 2020 elections. Beijing hit by the heaviest rains in 140 years. Dystopias. Anna von Wright says that people need to see the other side of things. Battle for your mind. Persuasion and brainwashing techniques. Every hour you spend watching television, you become more conditioned. The Davos Forum wants companies to be able to spy on the brainwaves of their employees. What was missing? Dave Jefferson believes that regimes are waging in an undeclared war against unwanted segments of their society. He adds that they are pressing relentlessly to replace what remains of freedom with the tyranny of social control. Gerald Celente is of the opinion that we are at the end of civilization, and that people need to prepare themselves physically, mentally, and spiritually, because you are fighting for your life. Economy. The big fish eats the small to beat inflation. Goldman Sachs analyst found that in New York waters. The Bank of England raises interest rates to 5.25%, the highest level in 15 years. The British look for gold and medals for batteries in the Falkland Islands. Wall Street made billions from ruble trading during the first year of the Ukraine war, Bloomberg reports. The Russian stock market closed with the growth of the main stock indices. Russia confirms the launch of the gold-backed BRICS coin. Germany refuses to deliver cruise missiles to Ukraine. Wolverine says there may be good news this week. The markets are propped up to give the illusion that things are going well. Slow economic activity this summer due to reduced money supply to control inflation, according to Michael Snyder. Tom Luongo believes that the ECB is caught between Japan and the US, and that the Eurozone bond market is a terminal stage cancer patient. According to militiamen, there are a large number of people arrested and accused of money laundering and illegal trade in dinars and dollars. Iraq cracks down on dollar smuggling. The Niger military joint denounces pacts with France. France challenges the US in a hidden energy war thanks to its nuclear power plants, but the coup in Niger deprives it of uranium. Curious. The UFO narrative coincides with the race to arms space, says Caitlin Johnston. Dr. Stephen Greer says that aliens continue to visit Earth and that the US has technology from Star Trek. Discovered in Switzerland, an arrow made of extraterrestrial iron 3,000 years ago. An aging expert thinks that humans can live 20,000 years. Virgin Galactic quintuples profit as space tourism takes off. The pilots are seeing very strange things in the training fields of Arizona. Goats help prevent forest fires, according to science. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.